Welcome back to week 3 of the Magician's Adventures in the Realm. We've had an interesting first couple of weeks. That last week I made some interesting decisions. Not interesting as in ingenious and clever, more interesting as in stupid, particularly as regards to the cloven hoof. But that's what you get when you muck around with evil enchanted items. Anyway, the soldiers are now the deserving and proud possessors of the cloven hoof. I've managed to accrue a lot of cash, much more than I usually get with the Magician, due to the lucky find and sale of the Regent of Jewels, once again to the soldiers. And although I've only got a bit of fame out of that, so I've gained 18 fame and 8 notoriety, a little bit more to get to reach the victory conditions for that, but I've actually got to find some usable spells as well. My big problem is that I'm deep in deep woods, with a bat around and more potential bats turning up. The octopus here at the pool and horde site in Deepwood 6. My rogues have left me. The problem here is if I stay around to try to A, enchant my type 4 chit to purple, and B, rehire the rogues with that cash, one failed hide roll is likely to result in my death because I won't be able to run away from the octopus, and there's a reasonable chance that he'll be able to kill me. So I'm actually intending to play it safe, move away, re-enchant my type 4 chit to purple. The question is, where do I do that? Deep Woods is getting dangerous, and I don't have any muscle anymore. I could head back up to Awful Valley where it's completely safe and do my enchanting there, or I could head into Linden Woods. I know because of large campfires there, Linden Woods 4 is quite safe. It's only 2 clearings away. However, the large campfire is here, and while it's not completely safe, neutrals like the Bashkars and Lancers could turn up and take a disliking to me. The company could turn up there, and that would be a huge boon to hire them. Now, it's further away than the others. It's going to take me a whole day to get there, and it's going to waste a day or two. But if in the time I'm there enchanting, the company turns up, I should be able to hire them, even with especially with my large purse of loot, gold from my looting. So I think I'm actually going to do that. It's a bit of a risky proposition. I might waste a couple of days hanging around there waiting for the company to turn up and not get the monster die roll that will do it. But I think it's worth it, and it's a safer option than hanging around here with the octopus. And I probably shouldn't have gone there with the rogues. I probably should have finished the week somewhere safe with them. Another interesting decision. Anyway, if I manage to find the company and hire them, it will all be forgotten. So, first day of the week, I'll move in to Linden Woods 5, and I'll hide there. I've got my extra hide phase from that Cloak of Mist, which was also another lucky find. Won't alert. Monster die roll of 1. Oh, there's some luck. Straight up. Monster die roll of 1. The company are going to appear. That's spectacular. Okay. Oh well. I was thinking that might be another interesting choice, but it seems that actually, in retrospect, looks very clever. I think I will be able to hire them. They're friendly with me. Unlike with the rogues, I have to hire them all as a group, but they're a great unit, one of the strongest groups of natives in the game. I'll explain when I've hired them. There's confidence for you. Now, I get a free hide phase regardless, so I might as well take it with my Cloak of Mist. I am going to trade once with the company. Once I hire them, I won't be able to trade with company HQ. Some sort of fair trade agreement thing. I'm not allowed to conduct business with people who are under my employ. I don't know what it is, but I'm not actually able to trade with them once I've hired him. So I'm going to do at least one trade phase. I'll do one hire phase. This trade phase is to see if they have any magic bearing items. I'm now starting to think about finding magic, and if they have a spell book, then I'm not even going to have to worry about the altar over here. because I'll be able to buy that from them, and that's what I'm starting to think about now. I still have to gain some fame and notoriety, but I'm going to have to find more spells than are just on the altar here if I'm going to satisfy my full quota of usable spells. So I've done a hide, a trade, and a hire, and I'm going to spell twice. The first will be preparation phase, the second the enchant phase to get that purple chip back. If I don't successfully hire the company now, I'll hopefully hire them later. Alright, successfully hidden. What do they have? Vial of healing and a poultice of health. They don't have a spellbook or artifact, which is disappointing. See if they'll sell me this poultice of health. Base of 2 gold. Won't buy drinks for that. No deal. Okay. Let's see if I can hire them. They've got a base of 16 gold. I'm rolling on the friendly table as I did with the rogues. So I'm going to be looking at a price 2, 3 or 4. Buy 2, 3 or 4 for them. I actually think it's worth buying drinks. Can't do that repeatedly because my whole kitty will get whittled away. Price by 4 will be 64, and I'll still be able to hire them if I've bought gold for them. That might be not a bad idea to go up to the allied table. 32 gold. That's excellent. Price by 2. Maybe it was worth buying drinks. Yeah, I certainly will hire them for that. Roll of 3. Price by 2 as an ally. I don't think I would have gotten that for on the friendly table. Oh no, I would have. So buying drinks was wasted. I don't care. I've now hired the company. I've never done that before as the magician, so there might be interesting times ahead. I don't need the rogues now. What rogues? Who are they? I've got the company. That's just amazing. That's going to change the whole complexion of the game. That was very lucky to encounter them straight up and to get them for such a good price. Prepare my type 4 chip to purple magic, which I should have done a long time ago. The flying carpet is medium weight, and that's what's not allowing me to use my light move chits. With the company protecting me, I don't care anymore. Lancers have turned up. I'm hidden, so it doesn't really matter whether they cause me trouble. Could fight them with my company. It'd be worth quite a bit of notoriety to me. No, they are a dangerous native group. They have horses and they can hit very hard with those spears. So even though we outnumber them, I might lose a number of the company. And I actually want to save them for what's to come in deep woods. So no, we'll leave them alone. Okay, I'm going to assign my... there's no point in signing company HQ. It'll assign the rest of my natives to follow me. Company HQ can't follow me. Oh, he can follow me, but not as a guide. He can perform the follow action, but he actually moves and searches independently, which is going to be very handy for me. Another big bonus for hiring them over the rogues, apart from the fact that they're much stronger. They are a good group. I'll have a look at them now. They've got a couple of short swordsmen who are relatively fast and medium and armoured. They're okay, but I've got some real heavy hitters now. Company 2, 3 and 4 are pikemen. They can deal out tremendous damage. Company 5 is a real heavy hitter. He's a great swordsman. He can do maximum damage with that nice long great sword, which also can outreach almost anything else in the first round of combat. And I've also got a crossbowman. I think the company are the only group who have a crossbowman in the game. That crossbowman an attack with heavy 1, which will undercut almost anything. Of course, he rolls on the missile table, so there's a reasonable chance he'll lose levels from that. But he can potentially do a lot of damage as well. So it's really one of the strongest native groups on the board, possibly with the exception of the Order. So very, very pleased to have hired them. Now, first thing I might do is a trade with the Lancers. I'd never forgive myself if I found out they had one of the spell books that I was so desperately keen to get, and I didn't find out. So I'll do a trade with him first, and then we'll move back into Deep Woods, and I'll record that extra hide phase. Now for the moment, I'm just going to get Company HQ to perform the follow action to follow me. I'll get him to act independently when we actually get to a treasure site. There he is, he's following me. So let's see what the Lancers have. Map of the Lost City and Ointment of Steel. Ointment of Steel is very nice. Counts like tremendous armor against any blow. I can't actually wield the spear in combat, it's too heavy for me. No deal. It's okay, I'll survive without that. Now that I've got an escort of heavy bruisers, I'm very happy with that. So we'll move into Deep Woods 4 and Company HQ, and the rest of the company will follow me. Monster roll of 1. Dragons have turned up. Well, I would have been worried before, but I feel very, very confident now. The Tremendous Flying Dragon is out of reach even of most of the company, except for Company 5, who can kill him with his tremendous attack, because even though he loses a sharpness star, he can still do the tremendous damage necessary. I've got a feeling if he went toe-to-toe with the Tremendous Flying Dragon, though, he might die, and he's a very valuable native. I don't want that to happen. So I think I will intend to transform the Tremendous Flying Dragon and let the heavy hitters take out the heavy dragon, which sounds like a plan to me. One of the most difficult aspects of learning to use natives is what happens when they lure and deploy. I won't go into the details of it because it's very confusing, but suffice it to say, if you lure with a native and then deploy one more native to him, the luring native will be the target of the monster when it attacks. If you lure with a native and then have 2 or more natives deploying against it, the last native to deploy will be the target of the monster. It's worth going to the 3rd edition rules and actually reading up why that's the case. But if I assign 2, the luring character will be the one to wear the attack of the opponent. If I lure 3, if I assign 3 or more, it'll be the last one who's deployed who will. And usually I'd like to make sure that my most valuable characters are not the ones being attacked by my most valuable hired natives are not the ones being attacked by the dragons. My most valuable hired natives, I think, in this group are my Company HQ, because of his independence and his ability to search, Company 5, and probably Company 6 because of their ability to step up and take out big opponents. So what I will do is the heavy hitters are going to be the ones who have to take on the heavy dragon. So I'll lure with Company 5, knowing that I'm going to deploy a number of other hirelings against him. And that would be the pikemen, who can all hit for heavy damage. Oh, hadn't meant to do that. So what I'll do is it's too late. Not very smart. I'd meant to leave that there. Okay, well, we'll deploy. I'm not meant to assign that heavy pikeman against the Tremendous Flying Dragon. That was a mistake. It was meant to go against the heavy dragon. So they're going to have to go heavy with their 1 sharpness star side up because the heavy dragon is armoured. So they'll lose that sharpness star. This side won't kill. This heavy side, attack side, will. And I'll deploy my other pikeman. Now Company 4 is going to be the target of the heavy dragon because he's the last to deploy. Seeing I didn't deploy that pikeman, no, the crossbowman's too valuable. Now I'm going to deploy my swordsman against the Tremendous Flying Dragon. Medium with 1 sharpness star side up. I assign the company first because he's my most valuable. Company HQ. Heavy Flying Dragon, H1 side up. It's always H1 side up. That attack undercuts anything, so he's guaranteed a hit. Whether or not a kill will depend on the missile table. Yeah. And Company 1. Alright, I did make a bit of a mistake there, but I don't think it will make too much of a difference. I cast a spell in the encounter phase, transform. And the Tremendous Flying Dragon is... a frog again. Let's go frog squashing again. Alright. Remember, only one of these natives needs to intercept. What have I done with my crossbowman? Oh, another mistake. Terrible. Sorry, just not thinking straight. I hadn't meant to assign the crossbowman against the heavy dragon because he's now the target of the heavy dragon. So if things go wrong here, he could die. I'm not too worried about the frog combat. The frog's going to die eventually. I am worried about this combat. My big advantage in this first round of this evening's combat is that my longer weapon lengths hit first, and these pikemen and this great swordsman all have great long weapons, and Company 6 has a very long weapon. So their weapons will hit first. All of these, because of their... Company 6 will hit if he doesn't flip. All of these guys will need to intercept, and Company 4 and 5... Sorry, Company 3 and 4 will need not to... change tactics because they'll move to their medium sharpness, 1 sharpness side, which will not kill the heavy dragon. But I am hoping I'll kill him. That he should be in trouble. The frog might die as well. Let's see what happens. The frog lives, dragon dies. What happened? He moved. Company 1 undercut him, but he rolled a 6 on the missile table, decreased 3 levels down to negligible, so it's just a glancing blow from the crossbow bolt on the dragon. But he moved into Company 4's attack. Company 4 intercepted him. Heavy 1 sharpness star, didn't change tactics, which excellent training compared to those useless rogues, and of course not, it's random, but I like to think of it that way, and intercepted that heavy dragon and killed him. 5 fame, 5 notoriety. For me, I've satisfied my fame requirement. Now, yeah, these guys changed, did the repositioning roll, took them out of the way of the Tremendous Flying Dragon frog, who's moved down to the duck and smash box and was missed completely. However, he's now going to have to face a whole company of rogues and me with my dagger, so I don't think he's going to survive. I don't really care who lures and deploys now because that frog doesn't have an attack, so it doesn't really matter who kills him, and it doesn't matter which side up because it's only going to take light damage to get him. The only one who's the side I deploy with is going to matter is the crossbowman, because he's the only one of anyone here who can undercut that frog with his attack time of 1. I don't think the frog's going to survive a company of 7 mercenaries and a magician running around trying to beat him up with pikes, great swords and crossbows. I do nothing in the encounter step. I will assign to attack the frog with my dagger, which I think is a bit unnecessary, but I want to get in on the action. Don't want to look bad in front of the company. I'll just spread them out a bit. It doesn't really matter who goes where, just as long as I get a pretty even spread of characters among natives among the boxes, so that if they reposition, at least someone has to hit him surely, and I'll place my fight there with my dagger. Negligible +1 sharpness star, which is enough to kill a frog. Okay, who got him? Ooh, he almost got away, but Company 4 intercepted him, squashed him with his pike. Frog legs for dinner. Okay. 12 fame, 12 notoriety. There you go. I've satisfied my fame and notoriety requirements, and then some. In fact, I'm going to get a bonus point for fame if things stay as they are.
Hey, did everyone find that thoroughly confusing? I found it confusing, and I'm the one who recorded this. There's a bit of a time warp. I'm just interjecting here to explain luring and deploying a bit better. This video playthrough was never intended as an example of leading hired natives, but it just so happens that the magician somehow fluked and managed to pick up the company. So there's a lot of directing and misdirecting of hired natives in battle. I find the magician quite entertaining, sometimes hilarious. I'm sure anybody who has had a transform into tremendous flying dragon moment with the magician understands that. And it's probably appropriate that Mr. Bean trying to be Alexander the Great and leading an army will result in farce. But also I didn't want anyone leaving this without really understanding or misunderstanding about luring and deploying. The problem is that the magician mixes luring and deploying, and that is unnecessary and confusing, certainly in solo play, and potentially dangerous, and it will result in comedy in this video, but it will also result in death, as you will see. Ideal play, when led by a good general, is that when you assign your hired natives, you should, against each individual enemy denizen, you should only lure or deploy. And we'll just explain that here. We're just going to recreate this battle that we've just seen. And although the result of it was fine, it could have turned out badly. We'll try to do a little bit better here. We'll just briefly go through this. So the first step is luring. The advantage of luring is that you assign a single one of your hirelings to their own sheet, and they lure one enemy denizen to their own sheet. The advantage is that your hireling will stay on the side you assign them to, so that's really good if the side that you want them on, the attack and maneuver, if those are important and you don't want them to shift, then that's ideal. The disadvantage is they will be facing that enemy denizen alone. When you deploy, you can assign multiple of your hired natives against a single enemy denizen on that enemy denizen sheet. And obviously the advantage of that is you have multiple opportunities to intercept and potentially kill that enemy denizen. The disadvantage is that while they are on that enemy denizen sheet, they are subject to the change tactics table. So let's have a quick run through of that battle again. I'm going to lure with the Tremendous Flying Dragon with Company 6. Now Company 6 light side is not very good. Company 6's dark side is excellent, and so if I lure with him on that side, he's going to get that H1 attack to undercut almost anything. We're obviously going to transform the Tremendous Flying Dragon, hopefully not into another Tremendous Flying Dragon. I've seen that happen. But he'll be able to undercut anything except the bird with that. So that's a really good one to lure with when we want Company 6 on that side and don't want him to change tactics. We will deploy our remaining natives against the heavy flying dragon. All of our pikemen we want to deploy to their heavy side. If they go to their medium side, because their sharpness star is knocked off, they will not harm the heavy dragon. But with 3 of them, you'd hope that one of them at least would stay on his heavy side. Company 5 can just kill it with either side, but it has to get an interception. If we don't want any of them to die, remember the last native deployed is the one who's going to be the target of the enemy denizen on that sheet. And in this case, it's going to be Company 1. Can't undercut him, so it doesn't really matter which side. We're going to leave precious Company HQ right out of this. So, as advertised, we will transform the tremendous flying dragon, hopefully into something harmless, into a frog. That's pretty good. So that's excellent. Company 6 will definitely undercut and probably kill the tremendous flying dragon frog. On the heavy dragons sheet, we're depending on one of these to intercept, and any of the great swordsmen or the pikemen will kill him if they intercept. Company 5 will regardless. The pikemen will if they don't change tactics, but remember, because they're deploying, they're subject to the change tactics table, so they could well change tactics, but it's very likely they would kill him. Well, the frog would eventually die. Company 1 did undercut and hit him, but had a terrible roll on his missile table. But we can see here that one of the pikemen did change tactics. So if he'd been the one who'd intercepted, that heavy dragon would not have been killed. But one of them who didn't change tactics did. So the take-home message: lure or deploy, depending on the tactical circumstances. Do not mix both of them when assigning against one enemy denizen. Okay, we will return you to the magician's comedy show.
All right, I'd love to get looting the altar, but I really must recharge my transform. With that cloak of mist, I get an extra hide. I'll rest. I should note that transform, I've been using it pretty much as a day spell because, or a combat spell, because I'm hoping to kill things on the day I transform them. But it is, of course, a permanent spell. So if I cast it on myself, or if I cast it on one of those monsters and we didn't actually finish him off, that type 6 chit would stay committed to that monster until the spell was dispelled or until the end of the game. Because it's a permanent. Of course, because I'm killing them, it immediately comes back to me and needs resting. So the type 6 and type 4 I'll rest, and I'll use those 2 spell phases to re-enchant my type 4 chit to purple. Company HQ, however, can start looting for me. I'll get him to hide. Don't want to have bats turn up on him and cause him trouble. So he's starting. He hides successfully, and we'll see if he can locate the altar. He found it. Now, he can't read the runes on the altar. What I am going to get him to do immediately is share his knowledge with me. So he'll add his discovery of the altar to share with me so that I now know it. And I'll get him to loot the altar. You can see if there's nothing. Type 5 on the roll, so he didn't find anything. Good. I hide successfully, rest both of those chits, enchant my type 4 to purple, and we're ready for any large denizens like this giant over here who might turn up again. Nothing turned up on a monster roll of 5. The only disadvantage of searching in tandem with a native leader is that when one of us finishes our turn, the other one can summon monsters, and that can block the next person having their turn because they'll start their turn unhidden. So I will hide, and I will search 4 times on the altar. I'm planning to start reading runes now. If I get cursed, I'm confident I have the company with me. They're going to be with me till the end of the week, that I'll actually manage to survive. I'm only interested in usable spells now. I've got my fame and notoriety. Of course, we'll kill anything that comes along. I'm confident of that, but I really want to start learning spells. Okay, don't alert. Company HQ can hide and loot 3 times. I successfully hid. Start reading runes on the altar. Just looking at reading runes, the first time this game we've been doing it. It's one of the search tables. The results I need to learn a spell are 1, 2, or 3. I've got an advantage, of course, with my special advantage. I get a -1 on my roll, which makes it more likely that I'll learn an awaken. There is the possibility of a curse, and some of them are terrible. Wither Wither and Eye Mist would be the two I'd really not want to see right now. Wither would fatigue all my chits, my effort asterisk chits, which includes all of my magic chits, so I couldn't cast spells and I can't rest them. I'm not allowed to have them active, so I couldn't use Remedy to get rid of that. I'd have to go to the chapel over here, and it's a good thing we're close by. Awaken spell is a problem when you are reading runes from a site like we are now, because the awaken spell goes to the bottom of the pile and you've got to cycle back through the other spells to get to it. Not so much a problem on the altar where there are only 2 spells, and not a problem at all in a spell book, because an awakened spell is actually awakened onto the item, and you can see it and get to choose to learn it or the next spell in the pile. But when you're looting a site, learning runes from a site, it is a little bit more difficult, because if you get the result of 4, that spell will drop to the bottom of the pile and you'll have to cycle through the other spells to get to it. So, reading runes, let's see how we go. Cursed. Curse of Ashes and a roll of 5 makes my gold worthless. I'll still have the gold, but it will be of no value. So I'm not going to be able to use it. I'm not really looking to at the moment, so I'm not too concerned about that curse. Okay, result of 3, -1. It was going to be a 4, but -1. Learn and Awaken, Fairy Lights. Type 3, gold, changes magic 3 to 2 and 7 to 6. I can't see myself using that, but it's a learn spell, so I have that. That's excellent. Let's go and see if we can get the second spell, which will be the type 2. Learn and Awaken, good result. Witch's Brew. It's the other spell, isn't that interesting? It's the other spell that can change ritual chits. I can change a 2 to 4 and an 8 to 3. That 2 to 4 is interesting because I could actually have an extra chit to cast Transform if the other one was fatigued. Okay, but I can't see myself using that either. Anyway, I've learned both spells on that site, and I've only gotten 1 curse, and it wasn't a curse that's caused me much harm. So I'm very pleased with that. There's no point in reading any more runes. All I'm going to do is start courting curses for no benefit, so I might loot the altar. My last search. Found the Crypt of the Night. It's interesting. That's a treasure within treasure site. It has its own table to search on when you're looting it. You can get tremendous suit of armor, bane sword, which is also tremendous. There's a treasure there, gold curse you can get, and a warhorse. But I think the warhorse is a result of 1, which is a 1 in 36 chance. None of those items are terribly useful to someone, except maybe the treasure. But none of them are particularly useful to someone who's really starting to look for spells now, which is what I'm doing. And it also takes, you will need a tremendous chit to fatigue to actually open the door of the Crypt of the Night. Neither I or my company HQ have that, so we couldn't even get in at the moment or carry away a lot of the items we might loot from there. So I won't actually look at that. It's effectively now there are only 3 items left at that site. Company HQ, Accessful Hide. I'll get him to loot the altar and see if he can pull something. He's found the Crypt of the Night too. Girdle of Energy. I always get the leader to hand on his items to me straight away, just in case he's killed at the end of the round. Increases my effort limit, potential effort limit, to 3 asterisks per round. Can't really see myself using that at the moment, but I will get my hands on it, and then he can loot again. Effectively only 2 treasures left to find here now. 2 giants. Okay. We could stay hidden. It's going to be a problem for us continuing to attempt to loot this site. And I think there's more lucrative treasure sites elsewhere. That Hoard and Pool, we're going to have trouble looting those last 2 treasures. It's going to take a while in the altar. I'm now looking to see if I can find things containing spells, which means spell books or artifacts. And I think we'll have a better option of doing that at the pool, or the Hoard. Do we take out these giants? Dangerous opponents. Worth fame and notoriety, however. And they'll only be a nuisance later if we leave them there. Okay, why not? So what do we do? What I'm going to do is I will transform one of them to make it a bit easier. I'll assign my heavy hitters to the other one. So I will lure. Remember, the last one I assign, last one to deploy, unless I'm only assigning 2 of them, the last one to deploy will be the one to bear the brunt of the Giants' attack. So Company HQ. The Giant's unarmoured, even though he's tremendous. He gets this extra club attack, which is a long attack, same length as the companies. I'm going to give, because the Giant's got an attack time of 5, I'm going to switch him to his 5 manoeuvre side, although he's not the one who's going to be the target of the attack. And I will get Company HQ to lure the one I'm going to transform. Done. Alright, I'll deploy the rest of them. The 3 pikemen all have to be on their heavy with 1 asterisk side to this giant. See if I can get it right this time. Okay. Alright, so we'll deploy the short swordsman. Actually, no, he's my least valuable one. I'll deploy my crossbowman and my short swordsman. Now here's a problem. Can't tell which is which. That's one problem with Realmspeak. Once you've the giant goes to his own sheet when other natives have been deployed to him, you can't tell which which one's which. So hopefully that's not going to cause too much of a problem. I'm going to cast that transform. Now am I going to have the same problem here? No. I can tell which, I can't tell which giant's which. That's difficult. In the board game that wouldn't be a problem. But it's a problem now. Let's take a gamble here. I hope I got the right giant. Look, it was transformed into a squirrel. Cute, furry and cuddly. Let's kill it. Oh, wrong choice. Wrong choice. We can change that next turn. But this giant could very well kill my Company HQ. Not good. Not good at all. We're relying on the crossbowman there to kill him. My Company HQ died. Very, very, very disappointing. Squirrel's dead. Alright. Not quite sure how we could have avoided that. It's a little bit of a glitch with Realmspeak, is that you cannot tell, once the giant's back on his own sheet, you cannot tell which giant's which if you've got 2 identical monsters. And unfortunately, I took a 50% gamble and got the wrong one. I'm going to assign everyone who might have a chance of killing this final giant to him. And the last I'll deploy is Company 4, one of the pikemen, who's the least valuable of those opponents. I won't deploy Company 1. And I'm of course not assigning to attack because I can't harm him. It's very, very, very disappointing. Alright, spread out the attackers here. All right. Now, Giant, of course, has 2 attacks. Company 4 can... unfortunately, Company 4 will lose the fight time duel here if they both intercept each other. But if Company 5 hits, and he'll actually undercut if he stays on this side with his attack time of 4, he should kill the Giant before he can kill Company 4, which he's done. Who did it? Wasn't Company... Fastest attack time undercut was Company 6, but he decreased 3 levels to negligible again, so he's not much value at all in this game. Company 5 intercepted and killed the Giant. Good. Disappointing round of combat, and I lost Company HQ, who was going to help me do some searching and looting. Very, very disappointing. Got a lot of extra fame and notoriety for that. That's okay. But I'm very, very disappointed I lost Company HQ, and I think that was just a bit of bad luck, really. Alright, the octopus is at the Horde. What I'm going to do is hide and regenerate my transform with 2 rests and 2 spell phases. Second last day of this week. The demon at the altar has turned up. Demon's interesting, tremendous monster just like the others. Spell attack, which is very fast, so he'll almost always hit his target with that spell attack, which is a Power of the Pit attack. If that doesn't kill or maim the opponent, he flips to his red side, which is the tear apart side when it hits. He's one I'm going to need to transform, I think. Again, when I attack with these guys, what I will do is Company 1 can be his target because he's now the least valuable. So I'll lure with Company 6 to his H1 side, of course, and then I'll deploy with the rest of them. Even if I didn't transform, all of these pikemen and the great swordsman and the crossbowman with a lucky roll could kill the demon. But he's like a Power of the Pit, a bad Power of the Pit result could kill the entire company, which we don't want, with the exception of the great swordsman, which we don't really want. So I'm going to... Swordsman 1 can't harm him, but is there as his target. But of course I'm going to transform him. And the demon is another squirrel. Oh, isn't that sweet? Okay. He won't last long. Doing well on the killing stakes here. I had hoped to find more spell sources, and I've not been lucky in that respect at all. It might be that we win this game because of a big fame and notoriety bonus, because we're doing an awful lot of transforming and killing. But it's the first time I've hired the company ever as the magician, and it's been a lot of fun, so I hope you've enjoyed it too. I don't usually have this heavy an army with the magician. He has to live more by his wits usually. Dead squirrel. Who's responsible? Not Company 6, Company 5 with his great sword. That would have made a real mess of the squirrel. Can't look. Alright, day 21. As I've said, I'm going to try and find more spell sources, which I'm hoping we're going to find a book or a... hopefully I'm going to find a book or an artifact to learn more spells from. But it may be that I'll just have to go with that one reading runes point, take the penalty for the second I don't get, and rely on a big fame and notoriety bonus to win the game. But that's how these things pan out sometime. This is my last day of the week. I'm going to have to regenerate my transform. Just too valuable, important to walk around without it. Monster die roll of 5. I don't think that's going to summon anything. Enchanted to purple. Oh, there's actually purple magic everywhere today. So if anything turned up, I could have used that rather than my purple chit. Nothing's turned up. Of course, on the 7th day of each week, there is a specific type of colour magic. And on day 21, it's purple. So I could have used that for my transform. That doesn't matter. Because nothing turned up. So that's been an interesting third week. I've hired the company, which I've never done before, as the magician. So this is a new experience for me. It's a really interesting game, and hardly surprisingly, it looks like Fame and Notoriety are going to be the big winners, because we've killed off a lot of tremendous monsters, both with transforming and not. I managed to read runes from the altar to satisfy one of my reading runes. I'm still very much hoping to find more spell sources. There is actually one spell source up here, which is the shrine, but there's only one spell I can learn there. It's a long way away and in caves. We'll just have to see what happens. A number of monsters have turned up here. I've lost Company HQ, which is very disappointing, because I actually think I shouldn't have. That was a problem with facing two identical monsters and signing a lot of natives against them and not being able to tell the two monsters apart when it came to choose spell targets for the transform, but because I think everything was set up properly before that. But anyway, that's the luck of the draw. It's been a very successful week, and I've got a high confidence that I'm going to win with the Magician, so I hope you join me for week 4 to see if that happens. See you then.